spot, bringing stats like a kingpin. MMA knowledge meets his nephews all lean in, breaking down fights, codes that daddy supreme on. Just a tip show, he's cooking up a dream. Uncle Weezy, he the man, dropping fight facts, got it all on hand. He the stat attack grand, MMA guru, more than just a fan. Wanna know the numbers? Weezy got them cataloged, from the fighters reach down to how many times they dog. Just a tip living, breaking it down slick, hit you with the knowledge, won't miss a single trick. Uncle Weezy, he the man, dropping fight facts, got it all on hand. He the stat attack grand, MMA guru, more than just a fan. Balls deep predictions, he be making those calls, getting in the details, opponents feeling small. From jabs to takedowns, got the whole fight ID. Uncle Weezy spitting truth, no lie, keep it G. Blow the horn, blow the horn. Stat Daddy Weezy not showing no scorn. Fight night kingdom, he wearing the crown. Break it down for the peeps, never looking like a clown.
Oh, yes. What's going on, everybody? It is Friday afternoon. Today we had the weigh-ins for UFC 316, which is going to be headlined by the Bantamweight Championship of the World between Sugar Sean O'Malley, who is the challenger, up against the reigning champion, Merab the Machine Dvalishvili. We've got another belt on the line here, as Juliana Pena is going to be defending her women's bantamweight championship of the world against Kayla Harrison, who is looking to be unstoppable at this point in her career. So we've got a really good pay-per-view card on tap here. And I am here today to give you guys a short full card breakdown. We're going to give you a dog pick of the week. We're going to give you Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week, which is the pick where I feel like I'm confident that somebody's not only going to win, but win in violent fashion. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a Greasy 4-leg parlay that's got some meat on the bone. And I want to give you guys access to a promo code because this is the week. I've been on a losing streak recently, but this is the week where your boy Wheezy raises up from the dead like your boy JC after he got crossed up in Galilee 3 days later. So we are using the promo code Weezy316 on OddsShopper this week only to get 50% off your first month's membership of the of Uncle Weezy's probability stats and content package on oddshopper.com. We're resurrecting from the dead. We got a huge week incoming, got quite a few bets, going to be adding a few more. And if you want to support the work and you want to get access to Balls Deep Breakdowns, a 2-hour full card breakdown show every week, which is only available on the OddsShopper. If you want to get access to Probability, a 2-hour plus EV prop betting show where we take the stylistic reads that we got from Balls Deep Breakdowns, we combine them with the betting models that I have that are proprietary and available on the OddsShopper to find the best plus EV bets of the week. You get access to the Discord. You get access to all my tracked bets. You get access to me. You get access to the fight write-ups that I do. Everything is available for $25 a month. And if you use the link in the description of this video, it's going to give you access to for the first month's membership for $12.50 using promo code Weezy316. I am fired up for this card, you guys. This is going to be a really fun one. Great pay-per-view card. The last two cards prior to this were very low in terms of name value. And we even had a main event fall off last week at the last second. So, you know, it's been a little bit of a rough slog over the last few weeks in terms of quality of cards. So coming back to UFC 316 this weekend in beautiful Newark, New Jersey is going to be a real treat. But I want to take you guys through my picks for the week here. And see, we got 13 of 13 fights picked. And I'm going to take you guys through a quick full card breakdown here of all the fights. One of the fights, we're going to do a balls deep breakdown, and I want to show you guys the new format for the show Balls Deep breakdowns, which is going to be exciting. It's exciting for me because I got some help from one of my Odd Shopper subscribers who hooked me up with his graphics guy. He built a small website where I can insert my spreadsheet into an index page, write a few notes about the fight in there, and then it spits out like a 12 to 14 slide presentation on that fight where we can go step by step through the fight and look at all of the relevant factors. And that's why we call it Balls Deep breakdowns, because we take literally everything that we can possibly take into consideration, not just from stats, but also from a trends angle, from a betting line angle, also from the statistics that are available and how they compare to the benchmarks for the division. So I'm looking forward to the fight that I've chosen is Seragih Spivac versus Waldo Cortes-Acosta. So we're going to do a very quick full card breakdown, but when we get to Spivac Acosta, I'm going to take you through a balls deep breakdown for that fight, and that's why I just want to show you guys what's going to be available if you do want to subscribe to the Odd Shopper product. So give your Uncle Weezy money now. As my guy, House of Pain Michael, knows, this is a guy who gives his Uncle Weezy money monthly to subscribe to the Odd Shopper and to get all the phenomenal products that are available on that Odd Shopper, and helping support the work of his Uncle Weezy, a very generous man right here. And you all should be generous too and give your Uncle Weezy money right now. Like my guy Ramora. By the way, shout out Ramora. This is the man who did this awesome graphic. I laughed my ass off when I saw this graphic for the first time. And I even said, I think that because this is going to be the week that we resurrect from the dead, this is going to be the week where we kill this losing streak. And even though it's been a really bad losing streak of 6 straight weeks and several units, we're still up on the year, almost still a 10% return on investment for the year. Up, I still think maybe even double-digit units on the year. So still having a solid year, but we got to bust out of the losing streak now. And it starts this week. Your Uncle Weezy coming back from the dead, rising, and it's Weezy 316 this week as we rise and shave the bookies' ass. We pipe the bookies on site, and we win a whole pile of units. So I'm looking forward to breaking it down with you guys. Let me bring up my picks for this week. I'm going to take you through one by one all of these picks for the week. So first fight of the week is going to be Markel Mederos versus Mark Choinski. I'm picking Mederos by decision here. I think it's a really tall order for Choinski taking this fight on 1 week's notice. He was scheduled to fight another opponent in Anthony Pettis FC next weekend. Choinski's got a wrestling background. He's a 3-time Division III All-American, so he's a high-level wrestler. And the striking, from all accounts of people that are talking about this guy, saying that it's improving regularly in the gym, and he's working over at Rufus Sport with legendary coach Duke Rufus and guys like C-Rod, and there's a lot of legends that have trained at Rufus Sport over the years. So yeah, Mark Choinski is somebody who's going to be looking to wrestle here, and he's going to be going up against Markel Mederos, who I think is going to be the bigger fighter, the better striker, going to throw a little bit more volume on the feet. And from what I've seen from Markel so far, he seems to be pretty well-rounded, still only 28, 29 years old, I believe. So I think that this is going to be a fairly close fight, but Choinski taking the fight on short notice, having a change of opponent, just like Mederos did, who was scheduled to fight last week, had to pull out. I just think it's a lot of things that are kind of against Choinski in this spot, because making your UFC debut is difficult. It's always something that's going to bring a ton of nerves, and then you got to do it on short notice. It was unexpected against an opponent that you didn't really get to research all that much. So I think Mederos' striking advantage, and he's got good takedown defense, a good get-up game. I think that Hubbard was able to get him down and get to his back once, but we even saw in round 3, Hubbard was able to get a takedown, but Mederos was able to do more damage when the fight was, in the scrambles and on the feet. So I think Mederos is going to win a close decision here, but I wouldn't be laying this kind of juice on his money line. I think that Choinski's the side from a gambling perspective. Next fight, Quillen Salkilld against Ashmouz. We got a big favorite here in Quillen Salkilld, who's got about 12 seconds of UFC octagon time to his credit so far, shaved the ass of Anshul Jubli in very short order and had a really good performance on Dana White's Contender Series against sorry guys, I was just trying to get the mute button on my Discord notification. There it is. All right, we got it. So he had a great performance against Gage Young on Dana White's Contender Series, and he's the former Eternal MMA lightweight champion. Defended it against Dom Marfan. I think he won it against Brett Pastor, if I'm not mistaken. But really good prospect. This kid's still only 25 years old, Salkilld, and he's got some decent striking. He stays very busy at range. He's got a wide variety of weapons. He's got excellent conditioning and excellent pace. We saw him shoot around 20 takedowns in the Dana White's Contender Series fight against Gage Young. And Yanal Ashmouz, I think, is going to be a good test for Quillin at this point in his career, because Yanal is a durable guy, a tough guy. He's got some power on the feet. He's got good wrestling, good scrambles. And I think that he's going to be able to test Quillin in these wrestling exchanges, even potentially get on top here and win some minutes. I think Yanal is going to keep this fairly close. I don't think Salkild's going to dick saw Yanal Ashmouz like he did the kid on the last time out, Anshul Jubli. So I think Salkild's quite a prospect, but he's minus 570 here, so there's not a whole lot we can do. I actually took a quarter unit shot when I saw that Ashmouz's decision prop was sitting at plus 1100. I figured I'd take a shot on it because I've seen do really good work when he gets into top position. He's position over submission, and he can win some minutes there. And the dude built like a brick shithouse. So we'll see how Salkilld deals with the physicality of Ashmouz here, and potentially, maybe a little bit of a power differential on Ashmouz's side as well. But I got to go with Salkilld by decision for this fight. Next fight's going to be just a really fun fight here. Jekka Seragih versus Yu Jusang. And I'm going with a Yu decision here. I don't know why I picked decision, but I felt like potentially we could absolutely see a Seragih finish with a knockout, and we could also see Jusang Yu get a knockout or a submission on the ground, because Jekka's not very good on the ground. So I could see a finish actually either way here. My pick is Yu by decision, but I think that Yu's going to finish him. I'm sorry. I'm going with Yu submission round 2. But I really like an under, actually. A fight doesn't go to decision for this fight because Jekka Seragih has got ridiculous power, but he's very bad on the ground. So I could see Jusang Yu actually getting a submission. I could see him getting a knockout because Jekka Seragih is extremely hittable. But Jekka swings for the fences every time he goes. So right now, I think you can get a Jekka Seragih knockout prop at like around plus 800. And I think that that's a really good look for this week because that's how Jekka is going to win this fight. Because Jusang Yu is the more technical fighter. He's going to be taller. He's going to be longer. And he's got the better diversity of weapons. And I've seen him kind of go to his wrestling a decent amount on the regional scene and be able to win minutes in a variety of ways. So Jusang Yu is going to have more ways to win this fight, but Jekka Seragih is live to knock out anybody on any given day because this guy swings every strike with hate in his heart. And if he lands, it might be nighty night. Keep your butthole tight. So I do think that either one of these guys is going to be live to finish. I'm picking Yu because I think he's just got way more ways to win this fight. And I think that his most likely way to finish is going to be to exploit the gaping hole in Jekka Seragih's ground game and take him down and find a submission after getting into his back. So Jusang Yu, submission round 2 is how I'm looking at this one, you guys. The next fight, saw Ariane De Silva weigh in, what was it, 132, so 6 pounds heavy for this fight. This was a fight that I was going to stay away from. It was going to be a straight pass from a gambling perspective, and it's going to stay that way after the massive weight miss by Ariane Lipsky. It could really potentially benefit Lipsky here. I mean, when you miss weight by that much, and she didn't look like she tried to kill herself. She looked pretty good on the scales in terms of like she she kind of showed like that she was a little bit sad, but she didn't look like somebody who had just stepped out of the sauna and looked like she had been ridden hard and put away wet. That she kind of looked like she didn't really bother to cut weight here. Very interesting. So she might be able to perform at a little bit higher level than we're used to seeing her perform. But I think there's a lot of variance here. I'm not willing to lay minus 550 on Wang Tong, and I don't want to pick a method. I don't want to, hope that it goes the full 15 and pick a decision prop. I don't want to rely on her getting knockouts or submissions at this level right now. So I'm picking a Wang decision because she is going to be the better technical striker. But Ariane De Silva is a very good striker and is in her own right. And if she shows up and fights to her full capabilities here, I think that she can look a lot better than plus 400, especially if she didn't cut weight at all and is going to be fighting at a really, she's not going to be depleted at all as a result of not cutting weight. So I think that there's some narrative issues on this side that makes me just kind of want to stay away from this one and not get involved at all after the massive weight miss by Lipsky here. But yeah, I'm going with Wang to win this one by decision. Next fight, Khaos Williams versus Andreas Gustafsson. This is going to be a really fun fight. But Gustafsson is probably going to cage push a lot here because Williams is very dangerous at range. And Gustafsson doesn't seem entirely comfortable there. He really kind of seems to really thrive being in a phone booth with his opponents. He's very durable. He's got that dog in him. He hits hard. And when he gets, he likes to bully his opponents. He likes to use that physicality, that strength, and really kind of just wear on his opponents in the clinch and win minutes that way. It looks like the place where he's most comfortable in the cage. Khaos Williams, obviously the more experienced fighter, the guy who's fought the much better brand of competition. I think that he's got the better striking. Well, this is at distance striking range. And he's shown to be a tough guy to kind of take down and hold down. But if you can get him down and get to a fairly comfortable position and consolidate top control against him, he does not have much off of his back. So we could see Gustafsson have some success in the clinch. If he's able to get a takedown or two and consolidate top position, I think he could definitely have some success from top control. But I do think that Khaos will be doing more damage while this fight is at range. And I think that he can lean on that experience advantage, on that strength of schedule advantage. And there's a couple things going against the Gustafsson side here. He was scheduled to fight last week against Trevin Giles. Giles passed out backstage while cutting weight. And because of that now, he's had to have 2 weight cuts in a period of 7 days. In addition, Gustafsson had to pull out of a scheduled fight in January due to a neck injury. So while he's been cleared to fight, it's still not clear how healthy he's going to be for this fight. And then also, it's a UFC debut. So you have nerves to deal with. You have a potential adrenaline dump to deal with. And you're fighting somebody that's a lot more experienced and has fought the much better brand of competition. So I got to lean to the Williams side here. I think there's a lot of reasons to like him. I think he's going to be the better striker, do more damage while this fight is at distance striking range. And Gustafsson, I think, can keep this fight very close. I think that one of the bets that I have not made yet, but I think I will make, is a fight goes to decision here at about plus 195, because both of these guys have that dog in them, and both of these guys are very durable. And I think we can count on that durability to go a contrarian fight goes to decision play here. Get about plus 195 on Bet Rivers, or Bet Online Sportsbook. Okay. Next fight is going to be Seragih Spivac versus Waldo Cortes-Acosta. And once again, if you guys want to get access to full card breakdowns that are this in-depth, check out the link in the description of this video. Use that code Weezy316 in order to get 50% off of your first month's membership. But what we have here is the new format for Balls Deep breakdowns. And it just takes you through, obviously, an intro slide, a tail of the tape slide. You get information on a fighter profile for Seragih Spivac that includes his last 5 fights, his record to the knockout, his record to the submission, his record to the decision, know what the streak is, know where his momentum is going, the career trajectory, so to speak, and how long the layoff was. And you get that also for fighter B there, and that's Waldo Cortes-Acosta. You get betting line information, which is a very interesting and very useful slide here, in my opinion. You get to see that Sergey Spivac is 8-5 in the UFC with an average betting line of -114 and an 8% return on investment. And then you could also see how Sergey performs as a favorite. He's got an average line of -224. He's 7 wins and 0 losses when priced as a favorite with a 45.7% ROI. So when Sergey is favored by the market, he performs very well. But he's 1-5 when priced as an underdog with a +188 average line. So the market has gotten 12 of Spivac's 13 fights right. So if you see Spivac price as a favorite, it's a good thing. If you see Spivac price as an underdog, he's probably going to lose. Waldo Cortes-Acosta, also just as effective as a favorite, being 5-0 when he's priced as a favorite. And he's cashed once as an underdog and lost once as an underdog. But, he's got a +56% ROI as an underdog. So he has been able to outperform market expectations of him. So, yeah, when we look at the tail of the tape here, you're going to see that Sergey Spivac's going to be the younger guy. He's also the more experienced guy. But Cortes-Acosta is going to be 1 inch taller. So, these guys are pretty well matched. They're about the same size. They have the same reach. And Sergey's going to be the younger fighter and the slightly more experienced fighter. Now, Spivac coming off a loss as a +400 underdog against Jailton Almeida. He also had an absolutely horrible performance against Ciryl Gane as a +166 underdog. And as a quick side note, at about 3 o'clock in the morning, I couldn't sleep last night, and I turned on Netflix, and there's a movie starring Ciryl Gane called KO. And I wound up watching that last night. Good action movie, stellar acting performance by our guy Ciryl Gane. So he's not just a talented fighter, ladies and gentlemen. This young man can act as well. So we can forgive Sergey Spivac for losing to quality opponents like Jailton Almeida and Ciryl Gane, while having wins over some really good names here in Marcin Tybura by first-round armbar. Derek Lewis, he just mauled him and subbed him in the first round. And then Augusto Sakai, it was a good performance as well. He won that fight by knockout. So Sergey Spivac is 7-4 to the knockout, so this guy can be finished, but he's 8-0 to the subs. So the guy's obviously got a very good ground game, and he's done a decent job of winning minutes, 2 wins and 1 loss to the decision as a professional. So with Waldo Cortes-Acosta, he's on a 4-fight winning streak. So he's definitely on a really good trajectory right now. But when you look at the names that he's beating, much lower level names than what we're seeing on the Spivac side. Lukas Dresky, Andrei Arlovsky, Robelis Despain, Ryan Spann. He had a really good fight with Marcos Rogerio de Lima where he kind of lost the first 8 minutes of the fight and then won the last 7 minutes of the fight. But Rogerio de Lima really did a lot of damage in round 1 and got a lot of top time in round 2, and it was enough for him to win a 29-28 unanimous decision in that fight. But that's Waldo Cortes-Acosta's only loss as a pro, and he really showed that he's got some he's got a lot of durability, and he's got no quit in him at all. 6-1 to the decision. So Waldo's done a very good job winning minutes in his fights, and he's 6-0 to the knockout. And so, yeah, strong momentum and a 4-fight winning streak. And we already went over this. We see Sergey Spivac as a favorite, and he's performing very well as a favorite here. But we also see that Waldo Cortes-Acosta 1-1 is an underdog, consistently outperforming market expectations of him. So Waldo Cortes-Acosta has shown that he's a solid underdog to back. When it comes to the strength of schedule here, we got Sergey Spivac with 13 UFC fights and Waldo Cortes-Acosta with 7. And you could see the combined records of Sergey Spivac's 13 UFC opponents are 109 wins and 72 losses, while for Waldo Cortes-Acosta, it's 49 wins and 55 losses. So definitely a big strength of schedule advantage here. And when you look at the wins as well, Sergey Spivac's UFC wins rate a lot better than Waldo Cortes-Acosta's. And Waldo Cortes-Acosta's are favorably weighted by his win over a 76-year-old Andrei Arlovsky who has a winning UFC record and a ton of UFC fights. So if you were to throw out that Arlovsky fight, this would look even more skewed in favor of Sergey Spivac. So we've got a big strength of schedule advantage here on the Sergey Spivac side. Now, when we look at the distance striking numbers, you can see that Sergey is landing 3.7, but absorbing 6.2. He's got 53% defense, which is about 3% worse than the divisional average. And his accuracy is pretty low at 36.5%. That's 7.7% worse than the divisional average in the heavyweight division. While Waldo Cortes-Acosta is landing 6.2 distance strikes per minute while only absorbing 4.3. So a positive 1.9 distance striking differential on the Cortes-Acosta side, a negative 2.5 distance striking differential on the Spivac side. I think Waldo hits harder. I think he's got the better boxing. I think he's got the better footwork. I don't think Spivac's that bad. I don't think Waldo Cortes-Acosta is just going to run away with the distance striking exchanges here, because we have to take into account the strength of schedule advantage on the Spivac side, but Waldo's definitely the side. If this fight stays standing for 15 minutes, I mean, it's really hard to picture Sergey Spivac winning those minutes consistently and banking those rounds. So it's going to definitely be up to Waldo Cortes-Acosta to keep this fight standing, because that's where he's going to have an advantage over Sergey Spivac, who's just really kind of showed really bad distance striking numbers. And then when it comes to the moment winning, like who's going to win moments while this fight is at distance striking range, you look at the KO record for Sergey Spivac is 7-4. So he's got a ton of KO losses. So not much durability on the Spivac side, while Waldo Cortes-Acosta is 6-0 to the KO. And we've seen him get his leg kicked off and never take a weird step. You know, we've seen him take flush shots from guys like Robelis de Spain and not even blink. So there is a massive power and durability advantage, and just having that dog in you advantage on the Waldo Cortes-Acosta side here. So yeah, Sergey Spivac in 13 UFC fights has never landed a knockdown, and he's absorbed 2, while Waldo has landed 2 knockdowns in only, I think, 7 UFC fights, and he's never absorbed 1. And he's been in there against some pretty big hitters like Ryan Spann, like Robelis de Spain. So this is a guy, you know, big power advantage, big durability advantage, and I think a minute winning advantage as well while this fight is on the feet. Now, when it comes to the grappling, obviously Sergey Spivac's going to have a big advantage here. He gets his takedowns at a 66% clip, and he's landing 4.6 takedowns per 15 minutes while only absorbing 0.6. So he's definitely doing a great job of getting fights to the ground. Sergey doesn't have good freestyle wrestling, but he's got excellent judo and excellent Greco-Roman wrestling. So Waldo Cortes-Acosta is going to need to stay out of the clinch here, because I think if Sergey's shooting for single legs and double legs, that Waldo's probably not going to have much of a problem stuffing those, because that's not how Sergey typically gets his takedowns. It's going to be up to Waldo to kind of keep him at range with his jab, maintain distance with his weapons. Don't throw a lot of kicks, because Sergey is also very good at catching kicks in order to get takedowns as well. So I think Waldo's going to have to kind of use his boxing here. But if Sergey is able to get inside, these grappling numbers are really important to look at, because this guy's getting his takedowns at a 66% accuracy clip, which is way above average for the division. As you could see, the divisional average is 39%. He's getting them at 66%. So he's 27% better than the divisional average. So yeah, this is a really good big advantage on the wrestling side for Spivac. And when you look at the control time as well, Waldo's, for a guy who doesn't really shoot a lot of takedowns, he's out controlling his opponents 13.2% to 8.2%. So I think that's a really important number, is that Waldo's done a great job of not being controlled by his opponents. But then again, his opponents really haven't been attempting a lot of takedowns against him. While Sergey Spivac is winning the control time battle in his fights, 37.5% to 16%, winning 70.3% of the control time positions in his fights. So Sergey Spivac's going to need takedowns and control time. And when we look at the control time striking, both of these guys are doing very well there. You know, Waldo's not absorbing any damage in the clinch or on the mat yet. But then again, he hasn't had Sergey Spivac on top of him yet. But Sergey Spivac's doing a great job, landing 3.3 clinch and ground strikes per minute while only absorbing 1.6. That's a positive 1.7 differential. And he spent 51 minutes in these positions. But Waldo's done a great job. He spent 18 minutes in these positions, and he's outlanding his opponents 3.1 to 0.4. So he's doing a very good job as well. But I think a lot of that is the Robelis to Spain fight. So once again, the stats might be a little bit skewed by the fact that, you know, Waldo did such great work on the mat against a 0 on the mat in Robelis to Spain. So when we look at the strengths and weaknesses here, Sergey Spivac he's 4 years younger than Waldo. He's got more pro experience, more UFC experience. He's got a strength to schedule advantage, and he's going to be the better minute and moment winner in the grappling exchanges of this fight. But Sergey is very easy to finish. There's a lack of durability and heart on the Spivac side, and he has below average striking. For Waldo Cortes-Acosta, he's going to be 1 inch taller. He's got very good conditioning for the heavyweight division. This guy's incredibly durable. He's going to have the better distance striking. I think he's going to be the better clinch striker as well. And he's going to have a power advantage while this fight is on the feet. But he's a below average grappler, and he's got pretty low level wins at the UFC level. So he's going to have to really prove himself that he can be effective at this level. So I'm picking Waldo Cortes-Acosta by decision because I think that he's going to be able to keep this fight standing for extended stretches. I think that Waldo's durability is going to be able to allow him to kind of be able to weather that early storm. And if he's able to do that, I think the boxing is going to take over down the stretch, and Waldo's going to win the minutes because Waldo is difficult to take down and hold down, and he has shown a good get-up game in the past, and we've seen Sergey Spivac's opponents get up time and time and time again against him. So I think the Cortes-Acosta by decision is the way to go, but I can absolutely see him getting a finish as well. So Waldo by decision at plus 600 is one of my favorite bets of the week. I have 1 unit on that at plus 525 on BetOnline Sportsbook, but you can currently get it at plus 600. And I think that this fight probably goes to decision. So I do kind of like the fight goes at plus 155 for this fight because Waldo's so durable, and because I think Waldo is going to be looking to keep distance at range and land the jab over and over again. Maybe he might not finish Sergey if that's the way that this fight goes. So one of my favorite bets of the week this week is Waldo by decision. I've got 1 unit on that, and my pick to win is Waldo Cortes-Acosta by decision. So if you want to get a breakdown like that for every fight, that's what we do on Balls Deep Breakdowns with Uncle Weezy every week, which is only shown on my Odds Shopper platform. So if you want in-depth analysis like that for every fight every week, check out the link in the description of this video, 50% off of your first month's membership. Weezy is rising from the dead after this losing streak this week, and he's bringing lots of flapjacks to his loyal followers. Why don't you become one of them and sign up this week, you guys? Appreciate you guys checking out the Balls Deep Breakdown. Let's get to the rest of the breakdown here for these fights. As we've got a Waldo Cortes-Acosta decision there. Next fight is Murzakanov versus Ribeiro. I think Murzakanov is one of the best fighters in the UFC. This guy is peak masculinity. If you look at him, 5'10" in the 205-pound division. He's got really deceptive speed and athletic ability for the body type that he brings into the cage. And he's so precise with his striking. And when he lands heavy. He is a knockout artist. He's very patient. He's fairly low volume. But when he lands big uppercuts, big straight left hands, big step-in knees are phenomenal. That's how he finished in Chukwi. And he's got a great check right hook. And when his opponent switches stances to southpaw, he can land the jab over and over again. And I've seen him drop dudes with that jab before. So Azamat, I think, is just going to be too much for a guy like Ribeiro, who's a lot lower level here. Azamat's going to find the knockout shot at some point. I think he's going to be patient, probably comes in round 2, and that's the pick here. I even in my probability parlay this week on Odds Shopper, the parlay I put together every week at the end of the show probability. One of the legs this week is Azamat Murzakanov inside the distance, and we paid minus 340. But it's just one of those things. I don't see this fight. I see it happening 90 to 95% of the time. Is just Ribeiro lying lifeless on the canvas here. So, Murzakanov sometimes you just got to hold your nose and pay the juice. And this is one of the places that I think it's going to happen. Murzakanov knockout round 2. This Bruno Silva versus Joshua Van fight is going to be a lot of fun. Josh Van, a massive minus 700 favorite here. And that's just kind of showing you the difference between these two guys, because there's career trajectory issues here. You got Josh Van, who's only 23. You got Bruno Silva, who's 35 and on a losing streak. Van's on a winning streak. And, it just looks like when you see those massive differences in career trajectory and momentum, that's when you get these massive lines like this. So it makes it very difficult to bet. But Bruno Silva is a guy who does his best work with moment winning, whether it be with his Brazilian jiu-jitsu on the mat or whether it be with his one punch or one strike knockout power on the feet. This guy can finish you. And we've seen Josh Van finished in both of his losses. And the way Josh Van fights with the pressure, the pace, the output, attempting almost 20 distance strikes per minute while he's at distance striking range, and the way that he works the body just really slows down his opponents and is very conducive to a late finish. So I think Van's going to win this one with a late knockout by just putting a pace on Bruno Silva and wearing him down over 3 rounds and then eventually just breaking him in half. But I think that Josh has been finished in both of his pro losses, and Bruno Silva has finished all 4 of his UFC wins. So I feel like the best way to play this fight is with a fight doesn't go to decision here. Always a little bit counterintuitive to play violence in men's flyweight fights, but I think Josh has got a lot of finish upside here. And because of the style with which he fights, he leaves a lot of defensive openings to his opponent. And I could see Bruno Silva getting a finish as well. So while I'm picking Van by KO in round 3, and I like Josh Van quite a bit here, I do think that the best bet for this fight doesn't go to decision. Brings us to the main card here. Vicente Luque at plus 240 versus Kevin Holland at minus 280. Fight doesn't go to decision, sitting at minus 260 for this fight. So, yeah, I still am kind of feeling like Luque might be done in terms of just his mental ability to be able to be the fighter that he used to be, which was somebody who just looked for a war and wanted to trust his durability and his guile to outlast somebody. He doesn't have that anymore. After the Jeff Neal fight, that changed him. He admitted after the Dos Anjos fight that he was scared to get hit. He admitted after the Buckley fight that he quit. So I just don't. Luque is somebody that I always felt that his best qualities were the durability, the heart, and the perseverance. And now that I can't really trust those, I have to go with Kevin Holland. But Kevin Holland is a stunt puller of the highest order. So laying minus 280 on the Kevin Holland money line is just something that I'm not going to be doing this week either. Have a small bet on Vicente Luque, quarter unit, to win by submission at plus 850. His Darce choke is legendary. He's finished a ton of UFC wins with that choke. And I think that Luque is going to have a hard time winning minutes against a much taller, much better striker in Kevin Holland. So I think Luque's path to winning minutes and potentially moments in this fight, and also to achieve the objective of not taking damage, would be to grapple in this fight. And if he does that and Holland makes a mistake in a transition, Luque could wrap up that Darce and finish the fight. So, and we've seen Holland finish with that exact move, I think at least once in his career. So while I'm picking Holland by KO round 2, and I think the most likely outcome here is a Holland finish, the bet that I chose, because it was plus 850, was a quarter unit on Vicente Luque by submission. We got Mario Bautista going up against Patchy Mix. We got the UFC debut of Patchy No Love Mix here. Gonna see how he does against UFC level competition here, but Bautista is a very good prospect, the top 10 UFC bantamweight. Great stretch of 3 wins here over Damon Blackshear, Jose Aldo, and I'm forgetting who the other guy was. Let me get it for you here. Bautista's last 5 fights. Ricky Simon was the other one. That was a really good win against a solid wrestler. And I think that, where's my Tapology page? There it is. I think that Bautista's, ability to be able to hang with the excellent conditioning that Patchy Mix brings, the pace that he puts on his opponents. I've never seen Bautista really get tired, and I love the pace that he pushes. He's extremely difficult to take down and hold down. So I think that Patchy's going to have a difficult time getting to the positions where he really thrives, which is either to the back standing or just, working for front chokes while his opponent's trying to get back to his feet when he does take them down. Bautista got really good footwork, really good output. And when he does get taken down, his scrambling ability to be able to get back to his feet has always been very good. And his grappling efficiency numbers are very good at the UFC level against a pretty solid level of competition. I think the Damon Blackshear fight is a very good comp for this fight. But we don't really know how somebody that comes from Bellator is going to look in the UFC. I mean, it's admittedly much lower level of competition there. And a lot of these guys that Patchy were beating on in Bellator were flyweights, and Mario Bautista is a very big bantamweight. So, yeah, I think that I'm going with Bautista here. I'm looking for him to win the minutes while this fight is on the feet, and I think that if Bautista doesn't give up his back to Patchy, it's going to be very difficult for Patchy to either find the front choke series that he would need to get to limit Bautista's ability to get fights back to the feet, or even get to Mario's back at some point, whether it's standing or whether it's on the mat. And if he can't do that, I can't trust him to win minutes against somebody like Mario. So, yeah, and Patchy's a very durable guy, and I don't know if Mario's really an elite finisher at this level. He's got good finish numbers, but he's finished the lower level opponents that he's fought. So I think Mario's most likely path here is a decision. I've got a 1-unit bet on Mario Bautista by decision at plus 275 on Bet Online Sportsbook, and I think it's his most likely path. So I decided to take a shot because we're getting that at just a little bit more than a 25% implied probability, which is a pretty good outcome for, I think. Excuse me. Next fight is going to be Body Bags Pyfer going up against Kelvin Gastelum. We got Pyfer a pretty big, almost minus 400 favorite right now. Pyfer, I think that he can win this fight by decision by landing the bigger shots on the feet and by winning the minutes with grappling and wrestling. I think that he can win this fight by knockout, even though Kelvin Gastelum has been historically one of the most durable guys in the entire organization. I don't think he's ever been hit as hard as Pyfer's going to hit him if he hits him clean. So I think that's a possibility. And I think that Joe's grappling game is very underrated. And I think that after training with guys like Sean Brady that have been in the octagon against Kelvin recently, that he might be able to even find a submission here. Kelvin is in the wrong weight class. He's a welterweight fighting as a middleweight because he doesn't feel like cutting weight. And these are the kind of fights where it becomes clear that, like, yeah, hey, you look good at middleweight when you're fighting guys like Chris Curtis, who's actually a welterweight, when you're fighting guys like Daniel Rodriguez, who's actually a welterweight, and you just forced him to fight at middleweight because you showed up 15 pounds fat. So, I mean, like, the commitment to the game for Gastelum, I don't see it. I don't see how you could be committed to a sport where weight cutting is such a big part of it and you consistently blow it and refuse to fight at your right weight class. So this is why we have weight classes. And when you see the size difference between these two guys, I think it's going to be pretty evident that Kelvin's going to need to fight a perfect fight in order to find a decision win here, because he's not taking down Joe and subbing him, and he's not knocking out Joe Pyfer because Kelvin hasn't really shown real power at this level in a very long time. And, maybe he could show that power at 170, which would be the right weight class for him. But at 185, I think that this could go so many different ways for Pyfer: decision, knockout, submission. But yeah, the official pick is Joe Pyfer by decision, but I think it's going to be a violent win for him. The next fight is the co-main event of the evening for the Women's Bantamweight Championship of the World. We have the challenger being around a minus 800 favorite here against Juliana Pena. I mean, Kayla is one of the best to ever do it. And she is fighting in a weight class where I don't know how she makes 135, but she made it, you guys. She did it. That was really essentially the fight, in my opinion. Now she gets to kind of just, rehydrate and get ready for the Pena fight tomorrow. And yeah, I mean, Juliana Pena is a very talented fighter. She's got solid striking. She's got a lot of heart. She's got very above average grappling for the division. And when you look at the strength of schedule that Juliana Pena has fought as a professional, she's been fighting top-notch fighters for her entire career. So Juliana Pena is, about as good of an opponent as you're going to see in this weight class right now. So it's a great test for Kayla, but Kayla is just elite. She's elite. And I think she's going to get a third-round submission here. I could see a ground and pound finish. I could see her just rinsing Juliana Pena with takedowns and top control and maybe just even going to decision here. But I think Kayla is going to make this look fairly easy. Juliana Pena has never been able to stop takedowns. Historically, her takedown defense at the UFC level is 23%. And, Kayla Harrison can get takedowns against anybody. So if Juliana Pena is unable to stuff takedowns, and if she's unable to land knockout shots on the feet, which we just haven't really seen that from Juliana. The striking is solid, but she's not a murderous one punch power puncher. So yeah, I think that this is going to be fairly easy for Kayla Harrison and New, and I think she's going to get a finish. And that brings us to the main event of the evening. Merab the Machine Dvalishvili going up against Sugar Sean O'Malley. I think that this fight's going to play out very close. I have action on the O'Malley money line. I have action on O'Malley by decision at plus 700. And if Sean O'Malley wins a decision in this fight, I'm going to be up 9.3 units just on those two bets, because I've got 1 unit on the money line at 230 and 1 unit on the decision prop at plus 700. But I think that this fight's going to play out very close. And I've kind of got it like 55-45 Merab. But the current price for Sean is something that I just couldn't pass up. I think we saw a really bad version of Sean O'Malley in that last fight against Merab. The hip injury, which didn't allow him to be able to prepare for the grappling, and it showed. Merab dominated on the mat. But the things that I found concerning, if I were backing Merab Dvalishvili at juice, which is something that we really haven't had to do for a minute, unless he was fighting like a washed-up Henry Cejudo, or unless he was fighting like a very old Jose Aldo. That, of course, you're going to get Merab. You're going to have to pay juice, against washed-up fighters. But Sean O'Malley's the opposite of that. Sean O'Malley is still a very young and marketable fighter with elite striking and measurables for this division. And so if we see even a slightly better version of Sean O'Malley, you got to remember, that fight was 48-47 on 2 of the 3 judges' scorecards. And you'd be hard-pressed to name what the second round was that Sean O'Malley won there. And frankly, he only won that 5th round because he landed that body kick. If he doesn't land that body kick, I think that the correct scorecard would have been 50-45 Dvalishvili. But Sean is going to do better with the takedown defense and get up game this time. And we already saw that, Sean can fight on a very thin margin and get nods from the judges here. So I think he's the more, marketable fighter. And at plus 230, I just couldn't pass it up. So even though I'm picking Merab Dvalishvili to win this fight by decision, because I love the cardio, I love the pace, I love the output, and I just love the way that he fights, I think that Sean's going to be a much tougher test this time around for Merab, and I think he's going to perform a lot better in the cage, and that means I can't pass up a plus 230 for the money line and a plus 700 for the decision. So yeah, we got through all of the 13 fights on this card. I'm going to give you the Bootsy Collins Memorial Dogs Are Barking pick of the week. And we've made a couple of picks that are underdogs. Bautista is an underdog this week, and I'm picking him. Cortes-Acosta is an underdog this week, and I'm picking him. I think Gustafsson can keep this fight very close. And I even bet on Ashmouz by decision at plus 1,100 for a quarter unit. But this week's Bootsy Collins Memorial Dogs Are Barking pick of the week is going to be, we're playing the number here. And even though I'm picking Dvalishvili to win the fight, Sean O'Malley at plus 230 is sitting below a 33% implied probability, probably closer to, let me see, I'll get the implied probability for you guys here of that betting line. Yeah, it's at 30.3%. So they're saying he only wins this fight 3 out of 10 times at that line. And I think it's more like 4.5 out of 10 times, maybe even 5 out of 10 times. But the Sean O'Malley decision prop, I think, is the best way to go here, because I think Merab's going to be very hard to finish no matter what. Even if you clip him big, he's the kind of guy who can kind of get on a single leg, push you back to the cage, and then recover while he's looking to offensively wrestle. And since he doesn't get tired, it's going to be very difficult to finish Merab Dvalishvili. But Sean O'Malley by decision, Sean O'Malley money line, I think that's where you get the biggest bang for your buck in terms of the difference between the true win probability and what the betting line is saying. So I like O'Malley as an underdog pick this week, which brings us to the last order of business of the full card breakdown, and that's Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. Who's going to win this week? Who's going to win violently? Who's going to leave their opponent in a state where you say, oh, shit, that dude ran into a dick saw. That dude got shellacked. That dude got his ass shaved. And this week, it's going to be a guy who got his ass shaved by Montezuma's revenge before the Mexico City fight when this was supposed to happen a few months ago. And now Joe Pyfer gets to fight in beautiful Newark, New Jersey, right by his hometown of Philadelphia, PA. So, yeah, a hometown fight against a much smaller fighter, a guy who's on a much different career trajectory, and a guy who's at a massive power differential here, a sizable submission grappling differential here. And the two career trajectories couldn't be more different right now. So I think Joe Pyfer might be the first guy to knock out Kelvin Gastelum. But if he's not, I do think it's a very high probability that he submits him on the mat, or maybe even finishes him with ground and pound. Joe Pyfer, it's like that dude, they let him have a roll of nickels in his hand, because when this dude hits people, they go down, and it's just so violent. I don't think that this is a good matchup at all for Kelvin Gastelum. So I think Joe Pyfer is going to shave the ass of Kelvin Gastelum this week, you guys. All right. Let me give you guys a Greasy 4-leg parlay here that I think is going to hit this week. I kind of mixed up some stuff that I didn't actually bet on that I think is going to hit. So we're going to take you through that. We got a pretty good number this week. And leg number 1 is going to be that Seragih versus Jusang Yu fight. Doesn't go to decision at minus 245. On DraftKings, we can go to fight props and fight to go the distance. And that one is sitting at minus 245 right now. I think Seragih either knocks out Yu, or I think Yu finds a finish with his striking or his grappling, probably in rounds 1 or 2 here. If it goes any longer than that, I'll be worried about it actually going the distance, as both of these guys fade a little bit. But Seragih has carried power into the 3rd round before in his career. He's gotten late finishes. This guy is always in a spot where he has enough to finish you with 1 strike. So I do like violence in this fight. I think it's a low-level fight, and the way that Jekka really goes, I think that somebody's going to get served in this one. So that's a good fat line to kind of start off with here. Leg number 2, we did the balls deep breakdown on the Waldo Cortes-Acosta versus Sergey Spivac fight. I'm going to go with that dog in him. I'm going to go with the durability. I'm going to go with the superior striking, and I think athletic ability that we have on the Waldo Cortes-Acosta side. Get a plus money number in here to kind of fatten up the probability of this parlay. And yeah, we went in depth on that fight, so I figure it's a great spot to get some value in this thing while we find a couple of more reliable legs to close out on here. Leg number 3 is going to be the Bruno Silva Josh Van fight. Doesn't go to decision at minus 115. Like we said, we talked about this fight. Van puts a pace on. Bruno Silva's an old man, but Bruno Silva has got serious power, and he's got finishing ability wherever the fight goes. and Josh Van leaves opening. So I think Bruno Silva's most likely path to victory here is a finish. And I think with Josh Van, even though the market thinks there's a much higher chance of a Van decision than a Van finish, I also think that the pace that this dude puts on is going to bring this fight. I mean, Bruno Silva's never shied away from a war, and neither is Josh Van. So I think they're going to oblige each other, and I think they're going to beat 7 shades of shit out of each other, and I think somebody's going to get served in this fight. So I really like violence there, and it's another leg that's fairly close to even, which is going to fatten up this parlay and give us a good return if it hits. And then the last leg, let's give you a nice wide leg to hedge out on should these first 3 legs come through. And that is going to be the Kayla Harrison money line at -650. That brings this 4-leg parlay up to plus 568 on DraftKings Sportsbook. I think it hits, man. I think Waldo, obviously there's going to be some greasy situations in that fight. If Sergey's getting takedowns, it's going to, we're going to be holding our breath, hoping that Waldo is able to get back up to his feet and not let Sergey get to a dominant position. But if he's able to weather that first round, I think Waldo is going to either find a knockout in the second or the third or win those rounds with his superior conditioning and boxing. And because the conditioning is going to be such a big part of this, being able to offensively wrestle is going to be difficult. So, yeah, this thing is coming out to plus 568 on DraftKings Sportsbook, and we're going to be looking to cash this thing. And now we can finally get to the chat here. What is up with you guys here? Let me get the promo code Weezy316 here. Let's see what you guys have got for me here in the chat. Hopefully all of you guys are having a great day today. We got Winther, the first in the card, saying this card is awesome. We are so ready for a big night, Uncle Weezy. It's time for a big night. We got my guy Stacking Cream in the room saying, yo, what's good, Unc? Did you get my message, brother? Yes, I did. I responded to you on the Twitter. Got your message. Let me know what you need help with, and we'll get it all fixed up for you, brother. We got my guy Olajuwon Dream in the room saying, oi! And he is saying, let's get greasy, lads. We got my guy Paku MMA checking in from the other hemisphere, the other side of the world, saying, sure, good to see you in here, Paku. We got Dix inside her in the room saying, Wheezy, I think they might have used Ariane Lipsky to smuggle in drugs from Brazil, and they either forgot to take them out before weigh-ins or she was mega constipated and couldn't poop them out, right? It could happen. Drug mules are a real thing. I am not accusing her of that, though. I mean, this is, I don't want to be making any false accusations on this show. So that is Dick's Insider that is making that particular accusation, not me, but you never know, man. 6 pounds heavy. What was she doing? And she's saying this could be the only reasonable explanation for a 6-pound weight miss. We got my guy Rem Dog in the room saying Weezy316 for Unc. Loved the chat that he gave him just the tip so that they may stack cashed tickets like flapjacks. You got to love it, dude. The 7-minute countdown is happening before the show. We got my guy Remora who did this graphic for us saying, oi. And we got Forrest saying, Uncle Weezy, do you think John Jones will still fight Tom Aspinall? Dana White and John Anik both said recently that the fight is still 100% on. What do they know that we don't? I don't think that they know shit. I don't think that John Jones is a reliable person. I don't think that even if John Jones said, don't worry, Dana, I'll fight him, I don't think you could take his word for it. I don't believe John Jones, so I don't know, man. I hope that fight happens. We all really want to see that fight, but I think John Jones is going to wait until they give him like $100 million or just some crazy amount of money to make that fight happen, because it's going to be something that he's probably going to say this is the last fucking fight. It's time, boys. The Oracle will speak, says my guy Michael. The bookies were quaking in their boots, and then from on high, those bookies will get the piping that they deserve. Thou shalt pipe the bookies on sight. That's gospel, man. That's gospel. We got Jake saying, why doesn't the UFC prediction tracker wait and calculate Wheezy? He's one of the best. He should be treated as one of the best. Well, he likes to get his content out early, and I get my content out late. But he would be able to get my content if he contacted me, because I could send him my picks because they're always done by Wednesday night. So then that way he could kind of include them in his tracker. But I don't put them out there for free on the internet until Friday, because I like to encourage people to click that link in the description of the video and sign up on the Odd Shopper so that they do get their content on Wednesday night and they get really researched opinions on these fights. Forrest saying subscribe and pipe up that like button. Yeah, I always forget to tell people, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button on the YouTube, and leave me a comment down below. I always like interacting with the people that comment on my videos. Appreciate you guys. Michael saying, hey, Jake, he waits until Wheezy makes a public announcement of his picks. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, and he does. But I would give them to him because he's done a great job of bringing people to my channel because he's been tracking those picks. And because my picks are, hitting at a very high percentage, he's done a great job of helping me grow my audience. So I really appreciate him. So yeah, if he needs to get my picks earlier, all he's got to do is contact me and I can send him a link. Gotcha. Thank you, House of Pain. Always on time, never late, says my guy Adam DeLuca, so he clearly knows me. And the good news is that you can add yourself in all of Wheezy's picks. If you're part of the Odds Shopper, you know they are, and that's what I do. And yes, Chicago time. We got my guy Jazz in the room saying, oi, Wheezy 316 says, I just shaved the bookie's ass. You got to read the good book, ladies and gentlemen. And the book of Wheezy is the best book in the good book. And no, not shave the bookies ass, pipe them up and pipe them hard. Wheezy 316 gospel, man. It's the word. We got Jeff saying, am I crazy for thinking Pena at least survives 2.5 rounds? I think the over 2.5 is safe. I don't think you're crazy, man. I mean, who knows, dude, how that fight is going to play out. But I do think that Kayla is going to win, obviously. But I don't know what round it's going to be. I'm picking round 3. So it's for me, it's just about 50-50 right there. Vicente Luque, it's nighty-night. Keep your butthole tight for you, buddy. It certainly could be, man. We got Rollo Tomasi in the room saying, what is up, Rollo? And we got Breezo saying, have you tried betting on Toshi Bet? It's the only no KYC crypto casino that allows you to farm points that count toward their token with every wager made. No, I have not heard of Toshi.bet before, but I can check that out. And my guy Ramora saying one of the lines of gospel from the book of Wheezy, which is give your Uncle Weezy money now. Try it now. Toshi Bet our Breezio. Appreciate you, my man. We got money for Wheezy, says Michael. We got shout out Ramora. Dixon saying, could you please mention 3 to 4 fighters that have multiple takedown upside, but only versus opponents that can actually get a couple times, aside from the obvious Marab and Kayla, please. I think that Ju Sang Yu can get takedowns. I think that Salkilld can get takedowns. I think Choinski could potentially get takedowns. Spivac could potentially get takedowns. Maybe even Luque. Mix potentially, but Mix might just try to take his back. Yeah, there's some pretty good stuff there. Yeah, that is great art. There's no question about it. We're all bouncing back this week, boys. Yes. Stacking Cream says Shark Live. There we go. We got Olajuwon saying join the Discord, Dixon. We got Lazy Bed saying shave that ass. We got Daz File saying you sub. I don't mind that at all. I think that's a great look. Remdog saying he likes the under. I think Jekka forces the action. I agree with you there. We got AWMD saying Uncle Weezy. Jekka going to get shaved here. I don't disagree with you. I think somebody's going to get served in that fight. We got Blonde Dog in the room saying, oh, what is up, dude? We got Robert saying the genie is gifting you a free car. The catch is you pay out of pocket for all expenses, repairs, and you can't sell it. And it is your daily driver. Yeah, I'll take the car. I'll take the car. We got Yo Milks, the fraud wheeze. Let's go, man. We got Will saying Ariane should move to 135. She's big enough. You think so? You think? I mean, I think she's fought maybe up there once or twice. Yeah, I never remember her having a big hard time cutting weight before. Missed by 6 pounds. She is going to grapple. I think that might be smart for her to just use her grappling advantage. Lipsky's going to lay all over her potentially, man. Wang, my murdering round 1. Lay on that Wang. Minus 455 Wang on DraftKings now. And it's your daily driver. What is Wheezy picking? A model, a year, and a make. So like if I gotta pay for all the expenses, I'd like to get an American car or a Japanese car. I don't want one of those BMWs or I had a Mercedes back in the day. It was so fucking expensive to fix. So I would probably get like a Honda Accord or something like that. Something, nondescript. I don't want to be showing off out there. I want to be right in the meaty part of the curb. I don't want to be bothered by the police. A nice Honda Accord, and it'll get me from A to B. It'll last a long time. I'll be able to take care of it. I got my guy George right around the corner that changes the oil for me every few months. So yeah, man, I would say like a very new Honda Accord is probably what I'm doing with. Olajuwon saying got Wang minus 350, parlayed with Kayla minus 600. Happy with both. Beat the line movement. I think that hits. I'd be surprised if it doesn't. Don't like betting women's MMA. Dude, I hear you, man. Some people just aren't comfortable with it, and there's nothing wrong with that. You want to be comfortable when you're betting. So don't be, don't try to step out of your comfort zone. You're going to make mistakes. We got DJ Serenity now in the room saying Wang could be undersized. Hate it when that happens. Hey-oh, we got TH in the room saying, oi. We got Vince Vegas saying, what's that greasy four-legger, yo? We already gave that out, but yeah, it is the banners. Seragih, fight doesn't go to decision, minus 245. Waldo Cortes-Acosta, money line. Silva Van, fight doesn't go to decision. And the Kayla Harrison, money line. Let's see here. We got Olajuwon saying played the over 2.5 and fight goes. As long as the over 2.5 hits, it's going to be a free roll. There you go. We got Lazy Bed saying Wheezy 316 says I just waxed your ass. Fellow Chad is in the room saying, damn, am I late for the Greasy 4-leg parlay? You are not. You did not miss it, man. Forrest saying, listen to Uncle Weezy after a bong hit just hits different. Uncle Weezy making Fridays great again since Miami Vice back in the 80s. I remember Miami Vice. Michael Mann, Don Johnson, Philip Seymour, Philip something Thomas. Philip Michael Thomas, was it? Never had really another acting gig after that show, but yeah, loved the Miami Vice, man. J-Mo in the room saying, why am I always late? Let's go on. Great picks this week, I expect. I hope they're great picks. Let's hope that they are, man. Silky B saying, tell him Wheezy. We got Olajuwon Dream says LOL at Forest. We got Justin Cash was saying Spivac some. We got Serial Gone LOL. Serial versus Seragih. That'll be a fun one, man. I thought it was a movie starring Sergei Spivac called Nosferatu. We got Serial Gone, heavy on the cereal. There we go. We got Justin Cash, ring-a-ding-ding with the $2 donation saying thoughts on Spivac sub. I think it's a possibility for sure. Spivac has got a very good ground game, very good Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and he's got excellent top control. But the problem with it is that Spivac's got nasty ground and pound. So I think it's pretty much just as likely that Spivac gets a ground and pound finish as he does a submission finish. So that's the thing you got to worry about. So I would think I would probably be a little bit, if you think that he's going to get a sub, it means that you think that he's going to get takedowns and get to dominant positions. I would probably rather play the inside the distance to include the ground and pound in there. We got 127 people in the chat and only 27 likes. Smash that like button, you bunch of freeloaders. We got Stacking Cream saying salsa time. I agree. We got Vince Vegas saying, holy, is he giving the parlay yet? No, I did not give it out at that point. I was impressed with Spivac taking Almeida down. Yeah, I mean, Almeida doesn't have good takedown defense. That's not easy. Almeida wants to be on the ground. So I wasn't worried about him, getting a takedown against Almeida. Let's see him take down somebody that doesn't want to be taken down, like Waldo, who's got a decent get-up game. But, if Spivac gets dominant positions, he's so vicious on top. Abdi's saying, hey, Uncle Weezy, thoughts under Pena, under 64.5 significant strikes, paired with Bruno Silva under 1.5 takedowns for 3 times value. Got it on Yeah, dude, get the Pena under 64.5 significant strikes. That's free money. And then the Bruno Silva under 1.5 takedowns. Yeah, I like that. I think that hits, man. Good job there. You don't want Seragih on top of you. No, you don't. Yeah, I love that. We got DK as Pena at 35. All right, you already said that. If there's no garlic in the octagon, Seragih will finish Waldo. But remember, dude, he can have a bunch of garlic on his breath. That's what I do. I just munch on a bunch of garlic before I fought that dude. I think, it's not illegal. Nobody says you can't eat garlic before a fight. It's perfectly legal. So that's what I would do. And as a matter of fact, I think maybe I should contact Waldo Cortes-Acosta's camp. 2 takedowns for Bruto is plus 600 on LOL. Yeah, I like that, man. KM saying, oh, shit, the big dog is live. Yes, sir, live. The Erig in the room saying, oh, what is up, dude? Everyone hit that thumbs up and the notification. KM saying, dude, half my lines are Spivac. Don't say this. It's all right, dude. I think it's going to play out like a close fight. I think there's definitely reasons to like both sides. That's why we do the Balls Deep breakdowns. We talked about the strengths and weaknesses of both fighters. And that when we look at that just because I'm picking Waldo Cortes-Acosta by decision, it doesn't mean that none of this matters. The youth, the experience at the UFC level and overall, the strength to schedule advantage, the grappling advantage, these are all big advantages on the Sergey Spivac side. It's like being an MMA stat school. Yeah, and I am your professor, Professor Uncle Weezy, Vince Vegas. Where the fuck is Waldo? I don't know, man. We're going to find out on Saturday. Let's hope he gets a win here. Give Weezy money now, says Elijah Dream. Waldo plus 135 money line. I like that. What's up, Uncle Weezy, says my guy Mushroom. Let's stack tickets like flapjacks. Let's get it, my man. We got exclusive Oro saying, YouTube didn't give me the notification you're live. Thanks always for generosity and insight, good sir. Can we get the pay-per-view? Take this job and shove it parlay. Yeah, you asked nicely. So here it is. The take this job and shove it parlay this week is going to be the fight goes to decision for Gustafsson versus Williams. Waldo Cortes-Acosta by decision at plus 650 and Josh Van by knockout at plus 175. That comes out to plus 5,881 on Bet Rivers Sportsbook. Good luck and gamble responsibly. Let me get my picks back up here. There we go. And let's go to the Bills Mafia, who is saying thank you. Appreciate you, Bills Mafia. Also, who gave the awesome plus money boxing bet a few live streams ago? Feed the live chat again, por favor. That was my guy, the Hood Wolf. That was my guy, Horse Meat. That was my guy, Ice Chepe. He's had a number of different names, but that dude is a killer on boxing bets. Dexter Pope saying, give your Uncle Weezy money now so we can buy an 8-ball for tomorrow night and share it with me. Let's go. We're going to get fired up and watch these fights tomorrow night, man. Milkman saying the fact that he's doing it at 75 years old, it is. I mean, you got to believe that Andrei Arlovsky is one of the best to do it, man. Weezy, I'm having a mini panic attack because you're on Waldo. It's all right, dude. It's just a fight. I'm wrong at least 30% of the time on my fight picks. Bill's Mafia saying Ribeiro by KO first round. That would be amazing if he did that. Damn it, I'm late, says Jacob. We got Lazy Bed saying that's someone's grandfather. Azamat Murzakanov. Daz Files, what's up, Daz? We got Bill saying what's up to Lazy Bed. Murzakanov is too good. He's so good. Waldo is still ass to Jeff K. Jacob Cole saying that he's on Spivac. Murzakanov is older than communism. I think he's been around for a minute. That's for sure. Stacking Cream saying he got the under 1.5 at minus 140. Yeah, I think that's it's very expensive, but it probably finishes early. Van's a stud. Josh Van 2-3 props are due to hit. I think they do. Van G and ground and pound round 3. That could work out. I'm picking around 3 KO. We got Luque is checked out. We got Big Mouth round 3 finish. Vincente Luque retires potentially. We got Shady in the room. What's up, Shady? Good to see you hanging out in here. As always, fellow Chad saying Luque versus Holland is such a hard fight to bet on. I got that quarter unit on Luque's sub, and I'm going to leave it at that. Kevin is going to kill him or get Darst. Yeah, I think that's probably how it works out, man. We got Dog or Pass, says Nasty Bertrude. Can never bet Holland at that price. I agree. Gus saying Untrustables, TM. We got BM round 3 KO. BM round 3 sub plus 2,500. We got Mushroom can cook your dick, be a small meal. Shady busting mushrooms balls. We got Bean Egg saying Luque ain't grappling. I disagree. We got DJ Serenity now saying Bautista. We got Milkman saying the Mario hate is overblown. He's very good. I agree. We got Gus B saying Bautista by split decision. We got fellow Chad saying, damn, I got Patchy in a parlay. He might hit, man. I mean, if he gets through the back, he can finish fights with chokes very easily. So it's going to be, I think, the moment winning of Mix versus the minute winning of Bautista here. We got my guy Johnny G in the room, one of my fraternity brothers, Sigma Chi, Northern Illinois University. Stand up. Good to see you hanging out in here, Johnny. I hope all is well, his brother. We got Lane saying Patchy only has 1 loss in his entire career. Only 2 of his wins have gone to the cards. Yeah, he's a big finisher. This fight is a toss-up. Go for the dog money. It's going to be a close one, and I went for the dog money, went Bautista by decision. Bautista plus 3.5. I think I'd rather just play the money line because I worry about the finish for Patchy Mix. Michigan should be MI should be evens in my opinion. MI. We got Stacking Cream saying took a shot at fight doesn't go at plus 125. Also mixed by sub at plus 425. Kelvin's just here for the quick bag. Yeah, I agree. He'll take his money and go home. Kelvin is not getting KO'd. It might be the first time. Yeah, but his head and chin are a fucking rock, and that is absolutely 100% true. The dude is one of the most durable guys to ever step foot in the cage. We got who did Barber fuck over last week? Cost me an 8-leg parlay. Oh, man. Sub maybe probably going the distance. It could be a sub in that fight for sure. Pyfer CNS round 2 plus 1,800 club and sub. Yeah, I can see that happening. I took a little Pyfer sub 2-3. Don't mind that. Wonder if Kayla will be 1,000 by fight time. Could be. We got Happy I got her at minus 600. That's not a bad price. Yeah, Kayla GNC Supplement Store Harrison. She's built like a brick shithouse. Kayla decision for me. Think Pena can hang on. Call the USDA. We got surplus milk in the co-main. Over 3.5 rounds. What's good, everyone? What's up, Wheezy? Good to see Fighter Fade hanging out in here. Get some help. Pena's takedown defense. 25 minutes of leg humping. O'Malley by questionable decision. Let's go. I hope so, man. Just an O'Malley decision win really just would be a huge hit for your Uncle Wheezy this week. Ends in split, says Stacking Cream. Vixen Milk sounds expensive, and I think it probably would be, man. Jeff saying I got nothing on the main. If my other bets do well, I'll throw a bit on Sean decision. It's a wide line, so why not? We got Sup Uncle Wheezy, says my guy Gerardo Hernandez in the room. We got Milkman saying if Sean does not win, does that mean he should have Jade the Peen this time around? Potentially, yes. But, there is something to be said for, what is it? Semen retention. Supposedly it has some effects that are positive for athletes. So we will find out, man. Always Jay the Peen, says my guy Remora. Jeff says Remora's a wise man. It's not going to J itself. That's so sure. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Wanking is plus EV, says Gus B. So then maybe Barab is the side this week. He should J the Peen between rounds for best chance of success. I disagree. I think if you jerked off between rounds and you climaxed, first of all, that would be difficult to do in less than 60 seconds. But if you did, you'd probably be tired. I was there live, and it never seemed like Sean had a chance in hell the first time. Yeah, he looked terrible, man. A 12-year-old could knock out Marab. I don't think that that's true. Tim's got to get help with the Sean. The Welsh is white grape juice. Yeah. Bring the hammer, says my guy, the jackhammer. Good to see Johnny G in here, man. Rough, says Milkman. Woof, woof. Oh, yes, says my guy Grayer Davis. Jeff saying makes sense to me. Most likely either Sean finishes or gets his leg humped all 5. Merab is a machine, yes, but he's not dangerous. You also got Bautista and possibly O'Malley for dogs. Yes. Yeah. So there you go. O'Malley for sure. Yes. Waldo's a pretty solid dog too. I agree. Whose ass is getting shaved? I think it's going to be Gastelum, my man. My guy, MMA Very in the room. Follow him on Twitter at MMA_Very. That's our guy, Avery, the sponsor of Stat Diggers. Keeping that show alive and well. He deserves a debt of gratitude from the MMA community that enjoys that show every week. Fighter Fade saying Waldo could get something. I think that could happen, yes. Milkman saying running into a dick saw does not sound like a good time. No, man, definitely not. MMA Very says Pyfer to shave the ass of Fat Gastelum. Let's go. I think he's going to do it. Jeff saying Pyfer not being at altitude is the best thing that could have happened to him. I agree. Sugar shouldn't be that far of an underdog. Tim Welsh is too smart to fight the same fight. They will have a game plan ready for Merab. Absolutely. B. Joe Pyfer says my guy's stacking cream. Damn right. You could finish Kelvin with a Mortal Kombat finisher that involves stuffing food down his throat. That might be the way, man. A real Joe Pyfer via NAFTA style ass shaving. Indeed, Milkman, a real ass shaving. All right, so MMA Shorts has got a 489 to win one parlay here. O'Malley by decision, Cortes-Acosta by decision, Ashmouz by decision, which is crazy because I have tracked bets on all three of those this week. I got O'Malley by decision for 1 unit. I got Cortes-Acosta by decision for 1 unit, and I got Ashmouz by decision for a 1/4 unit. So if that hits MMA Shorts, you and I are going to have a big week this week, dude. And we got Lazy Bed saying Pyfer going to blow his load early. Bad Taylor. Avery knows what's up is right, dude. We got Stacking Cream saying Pyfer inside the distance plus 115 right now, Wheezy. It's in my probability parlay. I'm playing it for a full unit. The non-washed Bruno Silva. Let's see, man. Let's see how it works out for him this week. We cash in, says Olajuwon Dream. Dizzy's in the room saying, do you believe Patchy Mix has any chance in this? Yeah, I do. I was really rooting for him, but you had me doubting myself. No, I mean, I think that Patchy's a very good fighter. And I think Patchy's going to be the moment winner in this fight. He's going to be the one that, could get to the back, could get in a deep choke attempt. I think that there are going to be areas that he can, finish this fight. But I think that the minute winner is going to be Bautista. I was hoping we were going to get that Spivac vampire thumbnail. That would have been pretty cool, man. Yeah, Lipsky double cheeked up on a Friday afternoon after missing weight. There we go. George Polsky, 577 on ESPN Bet, and they're offering a 30% boost. That's not a bad look, man. Hit that one up. We got Playing for Real saying, yo, what's up, dude? We got Jacob Cole saying they offered John what he wanted, and he still said no. He's a bitch. I'm not surprised. We got Paku MMA, ring a ding ding, you guys, with the $5 donation saying, ring a ding ding, up at 4:30 a.m. for this. Always need to compare my reads with Unc. Thanks always for the show. That's dedication, Paku. I appreciate you joining us this early morning, and thank you so much for the donation, brother. We got Michael Martinez saying, I got $100 on a Greasy 4-legger to profit $1,000. Mederos, Chaos, Spivac, and Bautista. Yeah, man. I think that could hit as well. I mean, I'm on Waldo, but I agree with the other three, and there's some decent odds on that Bautista money line for sure. We got D Spearman in the room saying, Uncle Wheezy, good to see you hanging out, D. Thanks for joining us, man. We got Gus B with the flapjacks. We got Martin in the room saying, I played the Chaos Gustafsson kind of both sides. One unit on Chaos round 1, round 2, and then 1 unit on fight goes to decision. Yeah, I don't mind that, dude. KM saying get the Toyota Corolla. I mean, dude, yeah, I think that's a pretty good look too. Cars just depreciate too. Just get something reliable. That's what I would do, man. That's me. I don't need anything flashy. Minus 600 beating the line movement. Yes, damn right, man. Let's get it. Kayla could be 1,000 come fight time. We got AJ Worse in the room saying Kayla to shave ass in violent fashion. I tend to agree with you, brother. Rollo Tomasi, Cena. I see a lot of line movement that I don't understand sometimes. People putting money on Holland against a guy like Luque, and Quillen being a minus 570 favorite despite being completely unproven. Why? It's hype drives the lines, and lately Luque's performances have looked really bad. So, like, there's a lot of really bad recency bias on the Luque side, and Quillen has looked really good thus far. So people are thinking that that's just going to continue. But yeah, I wouldn't be laying minus 570 on Quillen, and I wouldn't be laying minus 280 on Holland. I think Ashmouz is faster. That would be interesting if he was. And the Toyota Camry, says my guy Robert Saladino. Yeah, man, I would take a Toyota Camry. I'd take a Honda Accord. I think those would be great cars. Cheap to fix, very reliable, and I would just be able to, I would ride that thing for fucking 20 years, man. We got Bandit SAFUS saying O'Malley can't get finished. I think he can potentially get finished. Marab was looking for some chokes when Sean was getting back to his feet. So if he gets a little bit risky trying to get back to his feet, raises his chin, you never know. O'Malley could potentially get finished. My guy Johnny Gartner saying donate to the uncle. He needs a beverage. Yeah, I've got a little bit of coffee left, but hey, man, I could always use beverages for sure. Robert had a BMW Nightmare, nice drive, but oh my God, yeah, you show up to get your brakes done and get an oil change, and they ask for your mortgage payment, man. It's crazy. MTG saying, Wheezy, check out the Honda Civic 2016 models. Looks great and discreet. I will check into that, man. That sounds good. About right. Like about 9 years old. Still got some good years left in it. That's for sure. We got Mike in the room saying Lipsky, Kong still going ahead. As far as I know, it is. Because I think that Kong Wang is not flying all the way from China to Newark to, fly back home with no show check. So, yeah, I think she's going to take the fight. Is Kong getting the TKO? Potentially, yeah, but I'm staying away from that fight. GSP picked Gastelum by decision. I was surprised. Gastelum by decision is sitting around like plus 600, plus 650. I think that's the way that he would win this fight is to win a decision. Can you describe a little bit the process you use in general when you bet the UFC? Yeah, that's a long question, or a long answer, I should say. But I mean, like, this is the process, you guys. I look at measurables advantages. I look at experience advantages for both fighters. I look at the recent performances and the trends. Is the fighter hot right now? Is a fighter cold right now? What is the strength of schedule difference between these two fighters? Is this a step up or a step down for either fighter? I look at previous betting lines, which we see in the past 5 fights here. You see, sometimes you'll see somebody going from a massive favorite to a massive underdog. You'll see wide shifts in lines, and it might be recency bias gone too far. So I think that, measurables, experience, trends. Then I look at strength of schedule analysis. I look at distance striking. And then I look at how the fight's going to play out. Like, while it's a distance striking range, who's the minute winner? Who's the moment winner? Do either of these guys do a good job in the clinch of outlanding their opponents in significant strikes and winning minutes there? Who's the better grappler? Who's the more aggressive wrestler? Who's got better defensive wrestling? And then you put all of it together, and then you look at where that betting line is in comparison to the information that you're taking into account, and then you try to make a decision based on, is the line correct? If the line's correct, then you're probably not going to be gambling on the fight because you're not finding an edge either way. But when you find those edges, that's when you decide, do I want to bet it? You don't want to necessarily be betting shit that you think has a 15% chance of happening, but the market says it's only 10%. You're only paying 10%, still only a 15% chance of happening. So you don't want to get bogged down in that kind of stuff. So there's a lot to take into account when breaking down a fight, and in certain fights you have to take the certain information more into account than in others. So it's a very complicated process. I round robin those decision bets, and I love those. I think it's a great play at 498 to 1. I got Big Mouth early weeks ago at minus 180. How long have you been betting on the UFC for? So I think I've been tracking bets for about 4 full years now, all of 2024, all of 2023, all of 2022. And I think the very end of 2021, I tracked bets as well. And then now you've got about 5 months of action so far in 2025. So I would say about 4 years of tracked betting records available on me at betmmatips.com. What's more dangerous, Newark or Chicago? Now, I can't say, Robert, because I've never been to Newark. But I hear Newark is the jewel of the beautiful state of New Jersey. So Chicago is not very dangerous except for certain parts. The south side can get very dangerous in certain parts, but the north side is a lot safer, I would say. So I think Chicago, because of the statistics, gets a really bad rap. But I think Chicago is a very clean city. It's a very beautiful city. But there are parts of it that are very dangerous. But I don't know anything about Newark other than I think that Redman's from there. Definitely one of my favorite rappers of all time. There Is a Dark Side, one of my favorite Redman albums. But Brick City, Stand Up. But I can't answer that question because I've never been to Newark. You, Wang, Van, Pyfer, Big Mouth, all inside the distance at 2,600 for my guy Stacking Cream. Yeah, I don't mind that, dude. I don't mind that. I'm picking several of those to win inside the distance. That Hansel, he's so hot right now. Who's Hansel? Is it Hansel was the model in Zoolander? Martin Ugarte saying, I got 3 units on the under 2.5 in the Luque Holland. Greetings from Chile. Good to have you hanging out in here, Martin. Thanks for hanging out with us, man, and good luck on that. I think that's a fight that's probably going to end violently, but you just never know. El Pinche Humba in the room saying, oi. And we got Rolo Tomasi saying, thank you so much for your answer. Do you mute the commentary watching fights? Because I have the feeling it's complete garbage. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't. I definitely like to listen to it sometimes to get an idea if there was any bias from the commentators. But sometimes I'll watch fights at 2 times speed if I'm looking for something in particular. And then you can't really listen to commentary in that case. And my guy Stacking Cream saying, Reggie Noble, the one and only Red Man. You got to appreciate that. Good to see Stacking Cream hanging out in here. And yes, the model from Zoolander. I thought so, man. That was, what was his name? Owen Wilson, I believe. Yeah, man. Hilarious movie. Ice Viking saying, yeah, dude, Red Man's Cribs episode was the best. His fucking place was a total dump. And it was just dirty and fucking small. And it was nothing like any of these other dudes that had all these like fucking impressive places, man. Hilarious stuff on Red Man's MTV Cribs episode. What do you think about the dog or pass concept? Do you think it's better to be conservative and bet favorites or taking risk with underdogs? Both. You just have to find the value where it lies, I have no problem laying, 3 units on a minus 150 that I think should be minus 200. But I have a lot easier time betting a plus 160 that I think should be plus 100. So I definitely do gravitate more towards the underdogs, and that's because sometimes it's hard to find value on favorites. Meth and Red getting jumped. I love it, man. Time for some action. Yes, sir. All right, you guys, appreciate you. Once again, one more time, Wheezy 316. If you click on the link in the description of this video, you can get 50% off your first month's membership of my Odds Shopper probability stats and content package. Some of the best members-only MMA betting content that's available out there. 4 hours of it every week that there's a UFC card. You get the stat sheets that you see here with the prop betting model, the over-under betting model, the matchup stats compared to each other, as well as to the divisional averages, the individual fighter stats with the DraftKings, FanDuel, Prize Picks, and underdog points. All of that. You get the content, you get the fight write-ups, you get access to the Discord, you get access to all my tracked bets. It's a great value for only $25 a month, and the link is in the description of this video. You guys, give your Uncle Weezy money now. We're definitely resurrecting from the dead this week and going to have a big week. So use promo code 316, Weezy316. Thou shalt pipe the bookies on site. Appreciate each and every one of you. Hit that thumbs up on your way out. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. And leave me a comment down below if you have any questions, or let me know what your parlay is for this week, or any criticisms, or, any of that shit. Leave it below. I'm ready to read it and respond to you guys. So have a great week. Let's stack cashed tickets like flapjacks for UFC 316. I hope you guys enjoy the fights, and I hope we make a ton of money watching them. Take it easy, you guys.